Let's talk investments. Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube channel again. My name is Francisco Gallardo from Invescasa, and today we are going to be talking about how to find properties in the market. Just a bit of background information before we get into it. Now, in Australia, there are roughly about 500,000 transactions a year. There's about 12 million houses, 70% of them owner occupiers, 30% are investors, right? So if you're looking at the real estate portals and you're trying to find properties, you have to think about who are you? What type of buyer are you? Are you an investor or are you a first-time buyer? That is the main key thing. I'm not gonna get too much into detail because I'm gonna show you how to look for properties. That's the purpose of the video. But you have to know and you have to understand what type of buyer you are. Are you looking for a home or are you looking for an investment? And also, what type of property you're looking for. Are you looking for an apartment, a townhouse, a house? Are you looking for a block of land? Because understanding what the purpose of your search is will give you clarity as to what you need to do and what sections you need to go into. So I'm gonna give you the 5 key tips of how to look for properties on all the real estate platforms currently here in Australia. So tip number 1 is when you go into these portals, all these portals have 3 different sections, right? Buy, sold, and rent. If you're a buyer and you think that you're buying in a highly sought after and desirable area, my recommendation to you is to set your expectations correctly. Number 1, you will probably go to the sold section. I know it may sound very strange. Why am I gonna go look for a property in the sold section? I should go to the buy section. Well, depends, as I said, depends on what type of buyer you are, and depends what suburb you're buying in, where the market is in the investment cycle. Is it a hot market or a cold market? The best indication of market value are the sold properties in the portal. So you should go to realestate.com, sold section, no buy section, sold section, type properties in the suburb that you want to look for or that you want to buy into, search houses, townhouses or apartments and get an idea of prices. Because those properties that you will find in there are properties that are already sold and some of them have settled already. So that is the closest indication of market value. Now, look at recent properties. There's a tab, there's a section where you can click and classify all the sales in order through the filter from most recent, right? So if there's properties that you like in the suburb that don't have a price, pick up the phone and call the agent. Say, hi, Mr. Agent, I am Nath, and I am looking for a property in this location. I've seen that you sold that property. How much did I go for? Right? I bought about 700 properties for all my clients in the last 15 years. So we know how the market operates. We know the dynamics. We know what to ask to real estate agents. You can never ever tell them your actual budget. That is a rule, right? You can never say to them, oh, I've got 600 grand and that's what you have. No, you have to say, I've got 500,000. Common sense sometimes doesn't prevail. But I think in the sales environment, obviously like it is the real estate market, you have to understand how negotiation works and a bit of psychology to try to get the outcome that you want to have. Just tell them that you're in the market looking for a property. Tip number 2, and this is what I usually do. I go to Rate My Agent. Rate My Agent is a website. I mean, I'm not affiliated with any of these websites, by the way. I'm just showing you how I look for properties. I go on Rate My Agent and I type in the suburb, right? In that section of buy or sold properties. And then it gives me a list of the top 10 agents in that suburb, right? And typically what I do is I call directly agent number 1, agent number 2, and agent number 3. And I say, look, Mr. Agent, I'm in the market. I've got a budget of, don't tell them, I've got a budget of 500, but you've got 550 or 600 or 700. And I'm looking for a 3-bedroom house. I've seen that you've sold some similar properties in the area. When you speak to an agent and you're telling him all this info or telling her all that information, she knows or he knows that you've done your research, that you're experienced, and they will potentially give you information about new properties coming on the market or off market. Now, tip number 3 is set up your alerts correctly. My recommendation is not only set up your alerts in the suburb, but set it up as in the whole region. Like, let's say, for example, you're looking in Adelaide, right? Just put Adelaide Greater Region. Now, all these platforms are based on suburbs, locations, cities, But in my experience, what works well for me, because we know that if we're going to be looking for a house or we're looking for desirable locations, there's going to be very little stock on the market because there's more demand than supply at a given point in time. We know that Australia is heavily undersupplied of properties, and properties in the best locations, they're always highly sought after and people pay for more. So if you want to be realistic and you want to find a property in less than 3 months or less than 6 months, you have to be realistic. You have to understand that for your budget, you may struggle to find the right property. When you get an alert on your inbox, an alert is essentially when a new property comes online, you'll get an alert directly through your email, right? Investors like us, and there's home buyers or maybe other investors like yourself looking for properties. There's people nationally looking for properties all the time. Everyone will have access to these alerts, right? But the efficiency on how you analyze these properties and how you identify the good options, that takes a bit of time, and obviously that's where we come in and we do all this work for all of our clients. But if you're looking on the market and you want to get an idea of what comes on the market, setting up an alert is tip number 3. Tip number 4 is definitely go to open for inspections, right? If you're looking for a house and you're looking to buy, you definitely need to go to the open for inspections. Giving your details to real estate agents so that they can send you properties through their own channels or their private newsletters, that can also work. Sometimes they may be able to give you more information. In tip number 5, I will go to the websites of these local real estate agents. Some of these real estate agents' websites, they have off-market sections. And this is again, is tip number 5, and it's probably one of the best tips I'm gonna give you, because if you register on their website like a vault or like an off-market section, you may be able to get this information before the market finds out that the property is going online. So guys, here are the 5 tips on how to find properties in Australia. Tip number 1, go into one of the real estate portals, go into the sold section, identify realistically what properties are selling within your budget, within your suburb, most recent properties, so that you can understand what's available within your price point. Tip number 2, ratemyagent.com.au, go into the top 10 agents that are selling properties within the suburbs or the areas that you want to buy, and give them a call, identify what properties they're selling, see if they fall within your criteria, and give them a call and find out what they have, if they have any other properties for sale. Tip number 3 is set up your alerts correctly. Now, all these portals, as I said, 500,000 transactions at a given point in time every year. So everyone will get these alerts, but if you get these alerts and you're efficient, then you may be able to find a good deal or find the home that you want. But be realistic with your price point. Remember that, guys. Tip number 4 is inspect the properties. Now, why do I put inspect the properties as tip number 4? Because you need to do all your research before you actually go on ahead and spend your time inspecting properties every week. And tip number 5 is register on the locals agents' websites for off markets, or maybe in their newsletter. So guys, these are the 5 tips that I use personally for my clients at Invescasa to find properties in Australia. So if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel, follow us, and if you have any questions or if you want to chat with me, you're a part-time professional or a sophisticated investor or you're a first-time buyer, don't hesitate to reach out for an introductory call. See you on the next one.